Right, so despite everything going on in the world, and remember to stay safe, my friends, the other chatter in wrestling, aside from the state of WrestleMania, is what just happened with Triple H's job title. Coming from Dave Meltzer and the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer, Mr. Meltz wrote this about the situation. A recent SEC filing when giving Levesque's new title essentially opened the door for questions. Levesque was the head of talent relations, his main job, but also oversaw many other departments in his role as EVP of talent, live events and creative. So he was moved away from being in charge of talent, and his main duties are now NXT, selling NXT TV rights overseas and expanding NXT globally. Brad Bloom, Vince McMahon's chief of staff, took over Levesque's other duties as executive vice president of operations, overseeing the divisions Levesque was formerly overseeing. It is a change, and there are those internally and externally who have called it a quiet demotion. The labeling of his new title gives the impression that he's the guy negotiating with talent, but that is one of those things he was removed from doing. Mark Carrano no longer reports to Levesque and now reports to Bloom. Either way, it is curious that this was kept quiet for nearly 4 months. That took me a long time to remember. There, and I've quoted him, so now you can't get mad, but in his own words, some are saying that Triple H just suffered a quiet demotion. Why? Here's why. I actually think this is open to interpretation, but I get it. This was the verbiage used, so it's what the community is going to jump in on and debate. Because when it comes to big corporate titles, who actually knows what it means? I mean, Trips went for EVP of talent, live, whatever, to global talent development and strategy. You may as well tell me he's a wizard, especially with that beard, because I've no idea what the WWE structure is or what they're trying to achieve behind the scenes. But on that note, 100% we should change his title to Bearded Wizard. With that said, there have been some examples of this recently, given that George Barrios and Michelle Wilson were essentially ousted from the company, that maybe Vince McMahon is shuffling things around it. I mean, the rumor was that his two right-hand people, that were these two people I've just mentioned, they wanted to double down on the WWE Network, whereas McMahon saw more worth in going back to a more traditional model where they sell pay-per-views through a third party. And last we heard, that was still on the table, although it ain't going to be happening before WrestleMania, or if it is, it's a long shot. And again, who even knows what's going on with WrestleMania right now? No one's got a clue. If Vince is taking the company in a new direction, however, then there's every chance some people would be shifted around, and that could start with the game. I mean, it's not too dissimilar to what happened with Stephanie McMahon, who's his daughter, years ago. She went from having a creative title to like being a brand manager or words to that effect, and we saw her transition into a new role. But this is what's important, and it's here where we start looking towards WWE's future, like Doc Brown. If we believe the rumblings, WWE has been trying to extend NXT's reach across the globe. I mean, it's already here in the UK, and Japan seemed like it would be destination number 2, and they wanted to lock that down. I mean, as of now, that hasn't happened. So what do you do if you want to ensure you can start it happening? Well, why don't you give it to someone as a job? Enter Triple H. And the one thing you can take away from this change is that now this is his major role. He is going to attempt to expand NXT as far as wide as he can so that WWE has a foothold in every region. So that will be the UK, Japan, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, South America, Russia, Bulgaria, South Korea, I don't know. Maybe they want to set up a performance center in the North Pole and teach Santa Claus how to take a hip toss. You go get him, Father Christmas. But it should come as no surprise if WWE gets their way, they will be in charge of every territory possible. Whether that's a good or bad thing is a different debate for a different time. You'd also have to figure that Paul Heyman fits into this somehow too. Just bear with me, because now that he's taking on a lot of the responsibility when it comes to Raw and the writing of the show, and don't forget Vince is spending a lot of his time, or at least some of his time, with the XFL, maybe they needed to rewrite the job titles so that it better supported the former ECW boss in what he's trying to do. You know, maybe, can you believe it, Triple H wanted to start focusing more on this other stuff. I mean, there is 1,000 ways this could have gone, and if you are a fan of NXT USA and you want to see it develop, I don't think giving Hunter Hearst Helmsley more time to secure that is a bad thing. But again, Who flippin' knows? What I do think it means, and again I could be wrong, just throwing it out there, don't shoot me, is that Triple H won't be in charge of hiring talent anymore, as Dave Meltzer talked about. And so, not really sure how that would work, because so many people that go into WWE start in NXT, and that's his baby. And look, let's be fair to him, he does have his finger on the pulse about who's hot and who is not. And who is going to do that now? I mean, Vince's dude that we talked about earlier. If it was McMahon, people have said McMahon doesn't watch anything apart from WWE, so what's he going to do? Hire Brock Lesnar? Then hire Brock Lesnar again? That doesn't make any sense. When you break it all down, no pun intended, this could simply be Triple H is now officially Mr. NXT, and now he's married up with it further. Oh yeah, maybe he has a different vision from his father-in-law, and this was a compromise. I mean, NXT is now considered a third brand as opposed to developmental, so it may have just needed someone who can take care of that in a more official capacity. You can dedicate more time to it, and everybody's happy. The key thing that you should take away from this is that 10 minutes have passed, and there has still been no news about whether Triple H was officially going to become the Wizard of World Wrestling Entertainment. That's what I need. That's what I'm waiting for. Sweeping changes where management gets better names, and Vince can be the Overlord, Stephanie can be the Brand Baron, Linda can be the Distant One, and Shane, of course, can be best in the world. You know what I'm talking about. It'll just be more fun. I kind of feel like we need some more fun right about now. But there you go, you have the information and I've thrown it into your face. Do what you will with it, but don't get mad at me, because as the old cliche and saying goes, don't get mad at the messenger. That's not how it goes. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't do it, it's illegal. On one final note, while Bloom, I remembered his name, may be taking care of all that other stuff now, surely somebody else has to come into the equation at some point, because if I'm a professional wrestler that's about to sign with WWE, and I know I'm going to sit down at a table with Triple H, the game, the 122 world champion, or whatever the hell he was, I'm going to be quite excited, and I know we're going to be on the same level. If I sit down with Bloom, who I will presume, I'm guessing, is more of a business guy, and I'm going to feel a little bit like, I don't know whether I could trust you, I don't know whether you can get this. I mean, if you go way back to the Attitude Era, guess who was hiring people then? It was good old Jim Ross. And boy, how did he know what he was doing. You move the clock forward a little bit though, when Johnny Ace or John Laurinaitis got into charge, and you can read many stories out there, there's books, there's podcasts, there's social media posts that say he was a little bit trickier to deal with because he wasn't necessarily on the side of the wrestlers, and maybe he was butting up more to Vince McMahon. And one thing you can't say about JR or Triple H is that they do that. Maybe they do in other ways, but when it came to the talent, they understood who wrestlers were and what wrestlers needed, and that became their number one priority. So it is all change in WWE. Again, Vince McMahon's right-hand man and woman are gone. Triple H is going over the here. Stephanie McMahon is doing that thing over there, and who knows where Shane McMahon is these days. He may just be lying down in a field remembering that time he won a trophy in Saudi Arabia. We'll see what happens with WrestleMania 36. We'll see what happens after WrestleMania 36. We'll see what happens with the WWE Network and that WWE stock. But I am intrigued, and I'm not sure I'm ready. The last thing I want to throw in there is in these same filings, it noted that Triple H's wrestler contract runs out at the end of next year, so maybe we're actually coming to the end of the game's lifespan in that regard, because he doesn't have a match at WrestleMania 36 right now, although nobody may have a match at WrestleMania 36. It's not funny. I shouldn't joke about it. It's a genuinely serious situation. Again, stay safe. Make sure you stay safe. But that is something else to keep your eye on. And another reason, he may have changed his title. He's actually finished in the ring. He'll see out that sign of his deal. And now he's got this nice corporate thingy he can just throw himself into like a man coming out of a rocket and slamming into a wall. Don't forget that Paul Levesque also once said that he never wanted a corporate job, he never wanted a proper office job, that's why he became a wrestler. Just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this, especially the idea of Triple H being the official bearded wizard of WWE. I think that's very important. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. The button right there, you just click it, you turn on the bell, and you can watch all of our videos. And what else are you going to do? Head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter at What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here. You're here already on What Culture Wrestling. It's YouTube. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thanks for watching the Why series, the video series where we slap our heads and ask why, and usually don't actually come up with an answer towards the end of the video, but hopefully we presented a devil's advocate type argument and you had yourself a rollicking good time. Again, in these crazy worlds we find ourselves in with health and safety all over the place, make sure you take care of yourself Make sure you take care of each other. Let's be humans, let's be nice, and let's just get the positivity back into the universe. Not the WWE universe, the real universe. And sending you my love, and I will see you soon.